Hi, Amit.
Hello, Ajay.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us today, and it's really pleasure to have you over here. Let's welcome everyone to Amit. He's over here on my special request, and I'm really humble that he could make some time from his busy schedule, and we can talk more about Microsoft Fabric today. So, everyone who are over here for the very first time, I request you to please join our channel so that you always stay connected with our latest content and videos. And also, you can learn something more with the best in the world. And we always try to bring someone new over here for you. You can learn something new, you can get inspired from them. And today we have Amit Chandak with us. He's Microsoft MVP for Data Platform, and if you really want to get connect with him, you can see his Twitter account, his LinkedIn account, and his Medium account over here on your screen. Please get connected with him and also gives him a thumbs up for all his entire content that he's publishing over there, and he's helping all the data community. In case you have any question, please do comment in the comment section. Also, you can comment on the video later. It's going to be available on YouTube as well. And there, we are going to answer your all the questions and concerns. So, Amit, hands over to you.
Thanks, Ajay. Thanks for inviting me. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone who is watching this right now, based on the location you are in. So today, what we are going to do is we are going to discuss more about Microsoft Fabric and how Microsoft Fabric can benefit you. And if the time permits, we will have a quick look at the uh, Microsoft Fabric UIs also and try to do something out there. So, as you know, I am a Microsoft Data Platform MVP, and I am working on Microsoft Fabric for almost more than a year now. Microsoft Fabric got launched in May 2023, and it has been making buzz since then. So, we will first try to understand what Microsoft Fabric is. Why do we really need such kind of a platform? We are in data analytics world with so many options. Why one more option? So let's try to understand that. So now first I'll start with the definition of Microsoft Fabric, and try to explain you what that is. So Microsoft Fabric is end-to-end analytics platform that provides you single integrated environment for data professionals and business to collaborate on data. So basically what happens is when we do our data analytics journey, there are many steps which we do, and Microsoft Fabric is putting all those things in together. So let's first of all, before I go into the depth of what all those steps are and what Microsoft Fabric is putting together, let's quickly have a look at what does today we do. What is our current ecosystem? How do we solve any data problem? Before I tell you how do we solve a data problem, let me take you through one definition about business intelligence and data analytics. So business intelligence is related to decision making. So data driven decision making is something we wanted to do in today's world. Now, business intelligence refers to the technology and application and practice of collection, integration, analysis, and presentation of business information. Please remember these four terms because time and again we will go back and look how Microsoft Fabric is going to help us. Now, so when we are talking about these four terms, can't Power BI or tool like Tableau or can't business objects can do it? Means do we need a tool like Microsoft Fabric? So what happens in a typical Power BI world? We are able to do all these things together. So you have these sources which you are coming from, let's say SAP or SQL Server, or they may be on premise or they may be on cloud. Then you do collection. So typically what is going to be your collection in case of Power BI? It is going to be Power Query. And if you are using data flows, then you can use data flows the online and you can start collection of your data. Integration, again the transformation, what we call data transformation, you have to use Power Query only. That's the word. And I'm not talking about only a project where we are using Power Query. I'm not talking about a world where we are allowed to use databases and data warehouses. And then what would happen? Your analysis and presentation both will happen on Power BI. We have Power BI reports, we have dashboards, analyze in Excel, scorecards, and paginated report. All these can help you in analysis and presentation. So we can pretty much do in a smaller project these things. Now, what happens when your data grows? Can you do everything on all the four things in Power BI? Now, what happens when we grow? And typically, this is with the every medium and large organization, we are not able to do everything on Power BI. So what we do is we create a system which is applicable for everyone. See, understand, Power BI is really good when you are taking out data from it as a Power BI UIs. But let's say if you need Power BI's data in some other tool, or let's say want it in database, is it easy to do? No. So in such scenarios, what will happen is we want our data to be at a central place where everybody can access. And that is where you started creating something known as data warehouse. And data warehouse is a schema which is optimized for the purpose of reading. So what happens is all your OLTP system, what we call online transaction processing system, which could be on premise or online, we in these days in a system, we will typically bring it to a data lake. And in the Azure world, and I've taken only Azure's diagram, there are every other BI tool or every other cloud, you will get these facilities. So you would be first trying to bring your data into a data lake. Data lake is something where you are going to have everything. You will have entire data which may or may not be used for data analysis. Some of that might be used only for data science. Some of them is just lying as a backup, and some of them is going to be used in data warehousing for finally consumption for business intelligence and analytics. Then, and in case of Azure, you can use Azure Data Factory to bring in this. Again, in Azure Data Factories, we have data pipelines and data flows which can help us. Now, when you go for integration, again in the Azure world, you have data factory as well as Databricks. Depending on the kind of transformation you wanted to do, the kind of speed you need or complexity you want to solve, you can use one of these two. Now, once after the integration, the data may lie in Azure SQL or Synapse, and depending on your analysis requirement, either you can do it on databases. If you are a technical person, you can do it on database. But if you are a functional person, you might to do the analysis on Power BI or any other tools related to it. Like you can even do on Tableau. There is no limitation there. You are using some other tool, you can do it here. But we are from Power BI world, so we say okay, we are going to do it on Power BI. Now, so this is our Azure model. But I'm going to tell you that this is not only the set of technology you can use. In Azure world itself, you have tons of options. Like when I talk about Azure Synapse, Azure SQL, you might have Azure Cosmos DB, you can have Azure MySQL and all those. So you have tons of possibilities, in the Azure world itself to, do this entire stuff. Now, when we have the technology, when we are doing everything, what are the challenges which we are still facing? So now these challenges could be for this organization who are starting the business analytics, or either already started, or the organization who already have a mature BI is still facing the problems.
Yeah,
So
Amit, one question over here that I always get from the people. They are very much scared about getting Microsoft Fabric into the picture of organization architecture and the one that they were already working on Power BI. So how it's going to impact the jobs of Microsoft Power BI developer already who are working over there? And now, since Fabric is going to come into the picture, is there going to be some impact on those existing developers, or they need to learn new skills over there, or they have to upgrade themselves? So how they are going to cope up with this kind of change within the organization? What do you think about it?
yeah. So basically, Microsoft Fabric is a big environment. Is basically having everything which you need for data engineering.
Yeah,
So even if I'm a Power BI developer, I ultimately at one fine day wanted to become a data engineer, and later on wanted to migrate to data engineering and analytics or data engineer architect.
yeah,
Okay, so in that my path, Power BI is just one BI tool which I'm working on. Then later on, I have to migrate to data engineering there, where I need to learn SQL, I need to learn a little bit of Spark, Python, and create a huge, bigger project and architect bigger project. So anyway, you have to migrate to that path. But what is happening good is that in Microsoft Fabric, that path is very familiar to you,
yeah,
because what you are going to do, most of the things you are doing in Power BI, and
yeah,
because they have made all the UIs so similar that you will feel really comfortable. You will not feel that this extension you are doing in an unfamiliar environment.
indeed.
So anybody right now learning Power BI, the core skill I always recommend that you must know SQL, you
Yeah,
must know a little bit of Python. That is must for today's
yeah.
world also. And these are the two things which is also going to make you comfortable in Microsoft Fabric world also.
Indeed. So it would be good to say that, okay, you don't need to worry about that Microsoft Fabric is coming into the picture, and Power BI is just going to be the one of the experience over there. However, you can upgrade yourself for something bigger in the picture, like for end-to-end data analytics, where you can not just perform data visualization or self-service, but you can also perform the data engineering task, or maybe if you would like to upgrade further, you can go for the data science or ML, etc. as well. Is that okay
Yes.
to say? All right,
Yeah, I
great.
think yeah, you rightly said that it's going to create opportunities for us. And remember, it's a big journey. In that
Yes.
journey, Power BI itself is going to play a big role. But yes, we have opportunity that we can even enhance our role in the data analytics journey.
Yeah, and well, I'm gonna say one thing to everyone who's watching us now or who's gonna watch us later for this video. I'm 100% sure that Microsoft Fabric is going to be the future. So the one time in back in 2015, the Power BI came into the picture, and for the next 7 8 years, it just evolved throughout the world. Now this is the time for one platform which can perform your all end-to-end data analytics need, and that is going to be the Microsoft Fabric. It's not just there are not other platforms where you cannot perform this kind of task, but a platform which is so simple to use, which is software as a service itself, where you can enable any kind of services within seconds. You don't need to wait for your platform engineer, platform architect to ask something, or someone as another IT team. You can do it yourself. You can control your all the data governance policies over there. You can also ingest any kind of data. You can ingest any amount of data over there, and on the top of that, you can even perform your AI and ML kind of work. So, guys, if you are going to start learning now Microsoft Fabric, I'm assuring you that you have a bright future in data field with the Microsoft technologies. So please keep this thing in your mind and ask me after 3 4 years whether I was wrong or it was a good decision that you made it to yourself into this journey.
And I 100% agree. And I think I'm pretty much sure that the 2024 and 2025, the end of 2024 and 2025, could be a Microsoft Fabric job era where you will
Indeed.
get a lot of opportunities. And remember that in the Microsoft Fabric Microsoft ecosystem, Microsoft Fabric is a single unified environment which you will understand in little bit details, and you will realize how important that customers may want it to get benefit because of that, and they might actually migrate their existing data ecosystem to Microsoft Fabric. So it
Yeah.
may be happen that what I shown you the diagram previously, those guys are already on Azure or on Power BI. They would also like to migrate to Microsoft Fabric. So it's not only the new customer which Microsoft is going to get, all those migration may also come in. So it's a great opportunity to learn this, and earlier you learn it, better it is for you in your career.
Indeed, and they are already like giants like Chanel, Coca-Cola, and there are so many other big organizations around the world. Those are already started working on Microsoft Fabric. And to be honest, in our organization itself, we are trying to take the advantage of some of the components of Microsoft Fabric, such as Microsoft Fabric Copilot or Power BI Copilot that you want to say. But still, we are already onto our very mature platform. We cannot adopt suddenly everything, but as I said in my organization as well, and I'm saying over here as well, that one point of time is going to be when Microsoft Fabric is going to be our go-to platform. Reason being, everything is get merged with Microsoft Fabric. Whatever you think about a Microsoft, Azure features like Snaps, etc., that are whatever we are right now using it, Microsoft Fabric is a go-to platform for any data analytics needs. Yeah, it's going to take some time to get mature. It's already there 80 90%, but yes, still 10% is there, and it's a continuous journey. It's based on your feedback, what kind of suggestions you are providing to Microsoft, or what kind of challenges you are facing over there. So it's going to definitely help. But still, I'll say please start learning it now. Whether you are going to use it or not, that's a separate thing, but learning something new is always going to be beneficial. Thanks,
And the
Amit.
really interesting thing, I think, Ajay, I wanted to point out, because I remained a founder of a BI company, so I've seen how the things get built up, slowly, step by step. I missed that Power BI journey because I was not there in the Power BI at that time. But when I started with the Fabric, and Fabric came pretty mature product because Microsoft has done a lot of investment on that. But last 1 year, the way it has evolved, the kind of features comes in, sometimes you have 80 to 90 features which are coming in a month. It is really difficult for
Yeah.
people like us to cope up with what everything they are offering and what everything has changed. Sometime by the time we end up creating a video, the feature has already changed, or there is a better version available for that.
That's
So
true. That's true. I always face
I
that
remember I was recording a video and I almost recorded that, we don't have a direct data warehouse connector and we are going to use the Azure SQL option to do that. And by the time I reached to the screen, it was already there. So that fast that Microsoft Fabric changes and that fast Microsoft is listening. So it's a great platform to learn. And
indeed.
some
And
of, yeah.
I completely agree with you. Even I have subscribed, specifically the Microsoft Fabric blog, and there's so many blogs are coming. Even I cannot, keep up myself with them. So I had to, just keep it separate time for them in every weekend, that where I can go and I can learn everything what's the changes are going on. So they are really working hard on that platform, and they are really doing some nice stuff. And I'll say that it's a great contribution towards this data society, what I can say overall. And there are going to be more questions that we are going to discuss further, but let's move forward and see what you have in your basket for us today.
Sure. So let's start discussing the challenges. So scaling, as you understand, the large set of data is there, and not only scaling, we want to reduce the cost and optimize the existing data management. Now, accessible for all kind of users. So you have non-technical users, business users, you have technical users, you have data scientists. You want to make it accessible for everyone. Now, growing the BI adoption. So you don't want that you bring in BI tools or you do data analytics and nobody is using it. So you want a tool which is easy to use and that increases the adoption. You want it for everyone. You want democratization of data in your organization and breaking data silos. I'm telling you, irrespective of having all the data analytics stuff for last 20 plus years, still there are data silos. Still there might be Excel sheet where the logics are lying. Still there could be one report which is made in silos and nobody other than the creator knows the logic. So these are the real challenges which still exist in the organization, at which are at the various level of data maturity. Now, in spite of having those kind of challenges and having the solutions, so market do have solution for everything. And I can tell you, this is the one question which Arun always says, that the VP of Microsoft Power BI and Microsoft Fabric, that people ask him, am I a chief integration officer, or am I a chief data analytics officer, or data officer, or chief information technology officer? The reason being, you have 1,000+ options just to do these 4 steps. Now I have just given you very small 4 steps, means that journey could be a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
you have more than 1,000 technology. And if you choose from those 1,000 technology, I can not even put a picture. You have to search on Google and you will get the bigger picture where you have all the technologies. I just try to make sure that you understand that each and every step, how many technologies you have. And this is only, I restricted myself to key technologies in Azure. I have not went to all the technologies even in Azure. So you can think about how many choices we have. What is the harm of choices? I'm happy to have choices, but sometimes what happens when you have the choices,
Too much.
you
Yeah,
have
that we
to
are
all
sitting in
do
front
this
of the
integration.
screen and just we are switching that which one to choose from. It can create a chaos as well sometimes, to be honest.
POCs goes for months and months just to choose the technologies. We are doing POCs to go to data analytics for months. What technology is going to suit us? That kind of stuff may happen. So what are the all data analytics challenges? I try to summarize. So too many products. Now, while it is giving us option, it is also challenge. Different experience. Now you want to use, let's say you are using something on, let's say Snowflake, or you are using, let's say Redshift. It might have a different experience. Then you come to, let's say Azure, you come to Synapse, it might have a different experience. You might come to Power BI, it might have a different experience. So different experiences are there. Different licenses means there are different products. So license, you can also task, when I'm saying license, you also consider SaaS services when we are purchasing. So we might have different kind of licenses, then different configurations. So you buying, let's say something on AWS or Azure services, you need keys, you need user ID, password, you need maintenance of all those. Then you have choice between proprietary and open source. Should I use the proprietary technology or open source technology? Dedicated versus serverless is another choice. Should I use platform as a service or software as a service? Different business models. All these technology will come on different business models. Steep learning curve. Some of these could be really having a steep learning curve. Deep expertise is needed to some of these technologies. High integration effort. Now when you have so much of choice, let's say I'm creating a data warehouse on Snowflake, then I'm creating a warehouse, then I'm trying to have something on Tableau or Power BI which works better on the import mode. I've done all my effort having the data warehouse set up on, let's say Synapse or Snowflake, and then I need to again copy the data, and then I again need to that integration done.
Indeed.
Multiple copies of truth. So
Yeah.
this is one problem we try to solve with the analytics, but we end up creating that our own multiple copies, which are basically sometimes could be avoided.
Yeah.
And more the copies, more the steps, longer the development cycle, and cost too many factors to manage. And that's why we talked about chief integration officer. This cost, that cost, all the costs different to manage. So these
Yeah.
are challenges even with the mature organizations. Now let's understand the current ecosystem. So in the current ecosystem, what happens? You start the copying of the data. So you create the first copy, you put everything on the lakehouse from your sources. So you have whatever sources you have, you will go and dump the data into the lakehouse. Then you create another copy. Now understand, in data lake, you might do it as a blob storage. Now data warehouse doesn't understand blob. And sometimes what happens, we do have concept of external table where the CSV or the blob square can be read as external table. It might not give the same performance. So
Yeah.
what would happen? This first part would be a staging where you copy everything, or you almost end up duplicating what you need from the lake to the first part. Then you transform and create a gold copy. So this is typically known as bronze copy, and this is gold copy. There could be a silver copy of data in between.
Yeah.
So now what is happening here is basically you end up creating copy of your lake data, and then you create a transformed copy. Then we go to the next step, because we are using some of the best powerful tool in the industry, and the best powerful tool like Power BI works best on import mode. So the final data warehouse copy which we have created might be actually end up creating on Power BI again. So two copies of original data, two copies of transformed data. And
Actually,
think about
that's
if
the
you are doing
problem which
data.
is going on with most of the organizations nowadays. I'm a living proof of this. To be honest, it's happening that people try to import the data from the gold layer itself, and then they have a copy of the same over here on our Power BI, and the same over there, and it's like multiple data sets, and where we are placing, using multiple storage systems over there. So it's a big problem. To be honest, very big challenge.
So if you have data science, then you might have another, copy which you might create. It may be temporary copy or it may be permanent copy, and the results may be again merged with your existing data, or you might create another set of copy.
Yeah.
So more the requirements, more the copies you have. Now, this copy is not only a problem. I call a black box something. Why I call a black box? Because what happens is your end user is something which understand either Power BI or Excel, or
Yeah.
maybe page generated report or dashboard. And you
Indeed.
are the one who's working on all these technology, data factory, data lake, synapse, data breaks, all sort of data engineering technologies.
Yeah.
So what happens? You take a data from the source, you put it in the data factory. The only thing you validate, okay, the rows are coming, fine, that verification can happen. But there is now you can't make your business user to sit on a lake and explain you the logic.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't make him to sit with you on the SQL and make him explain you the logic. So what happens is he gives you some business requirement for which you don't have a discussion point. Understand, we are running in an environment where we talk about Scrum, but this Scrum of discussion will come after this data engineering is over. And
Yeah.
this could be sometime, you discuss the requirement 2 months back, and you are going after 2 months back, after
Yeah.
2 months, or maybe after 3 months sometime. By the time the end user might have changed their requirement. So this entire process with technology team works in, I called it as a black box, because we don't create any kind of visibility in this box to the end users. Whatever we are doing is known to us. Okay, they don't have visibility to the data, partial data, kind of data we bought it. So this is a black box. This is one more challenge. I have the GIF for it, but I'll right now just pass it on. If you Ajay have some question, we can look at this. So again, this explaining the same challenge. This GIF is explaining the same challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically how the data is actually flowing, and you can see the technical user is the only one who's working on that. And finally, when the business user comes in, by the time you reach to the business user, the things might have changed, or you might have not done correctly. So your endpoint is the BI tool where you both of you match, and you might not meet the user requirement.
Yeah.
So this
Indeed.
is what I happens in real scenarios.
Yeah.
Sorry, oh, I think I just pressed
Oh, that's
escape.
okay. Now, over here, I don't have any question, but yes, I completely agree with you. For the end user, it's like a black box itself. They don't care, to be honest. They just care how they have to run their business or how they have to make their decision. And from them, only front end matters. And front end in this case either can be Excel, it can be on any of the BI tool. Right now, we are talking about Microsoft technologies, of course, Microsoft Power BI or paginated report in any sense we want to use it, or self service the way they want to use it. So that's very much true. The only thing is that how we are going to handle the architecture, how we are going to make it as a global data platform for any organization. That's the most important part. And which I recommend personally every time, that do not use a lot of different tools and technologies. I have seen some of the biggest organizations, they use multiple cloud systems, they use multiple front end tools, as a they are using Tableau, MicroStrategy, Spotfire, and then they are also using some part of Power BI, etc. It creates lots of confusion and chaos. And also, when the data has to be exchanged between these different tools and technology, it's going to create another challenge over there. If we have from the same, let's say in this case from Microsoft itself, all our different technologies that we are using, it's very easy to get the support on that, and also the integration is going to be the seamless. So that's the one thing that I would like to add over here. But apart from that, whatever you said, Amit, I completely agree with you.
And what happens because of all this, the development cycle will also become longer, because
Yeah.
understand, you need to create one sync or you need to create one scheduler to get all the data to lake, another to to your database, then another to transform the data, then another one to refresh Power BI. So every stage you are creating a coffee, you see a
That's
watch
true.
here, and what does that mean is that you are creating a scheduler. You have to do, maybe in some cases it might be just few steps, other cases it could be a complete process which you have to do, and every time you have to do more and more of it, it is going to mean longer development cycle. So we have to optimize on our development cycle also, by the time from the place the data start to the place it uses to the end user, how can we minimize that development cycle?
That's indeed. All right.
And
Let's move forward.
yep, then we have the cost. Definitely
Your
there are
screen is
licensing.
not there. I believe your screen got disconnected. So if you can
Once,
present your screen once again, I can edit over here.
1 second.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Okay,
coming.
so I think I was showing this longer development cycle, and so more the steps you have, more the incremental ETLs, or more the syncs you have to link, or more the schedulers you have to write down, and you will end up creating a longer development cycle. Then cost, definitely more the components you have, more the choices you have the cost of licenses, storage, capacities. So sometimes you have only license cost, sometimes you might have a capacity cost. Data transfer is another cost, and development, because
Yeah.
every time you're copying, creating schedulers or doing development, that cost is going to be high. And this is about your development costs. I'm not talking about anything you're giving to Azure. It is only going to be giving to the service partner or to your employees, which
Yeah.
is developing this is sometimes could be even bigger cost. In first few years it could be even bigger than what your overall licensing cost could be, the development cost. And that is true, but yes, longer development means longer bigger cost. So the Microsoft Fabric, what it is bringing in, how it is going to solve these some of these problems which we are discussing. So let's look at the Microsoft Fabric ecosystem and try to understand how it can solve this problem. So Microsoft Fabric is a unified platform. You have unified architecture, unified experience, unified governance, and unified business model. So based on the foundation of one lake, Microsoft Fabric provides you all the things which you need for data engineering, data factory, data engineering, data science, data warehousing, real-time analytics, Power BI, and data activity, which is real-time alerting. And then for security, you can work with Preview, and then there's the AI layer to do your artificial intelligence. How did Microsoft Fabric achieve this? So what they have done is, specifically for your structured data, everything they started storing in the structured data is on the Delta Parquet format. Delta Parquet is an industry standard format for ACID operations on the data, and it is a columnar format where you can read faster. Now, when every experience can save on the data packet format and can read it back, there is no need of another copy. So there is a ground up work done that all the engines, whether it is data factory engines like data pipeline, data flow gen 2, data basis, data warehouse, what we call Power BI, or the Spark engines. Spark already supports Delta Parquet and Parquet. All of them can read and write, or the real time engine like Custo can read and write from that engines. And once they start reading and writing in the common format, you can have these unified architecture, you can have unified experiences, and you can do better governance. And this is the entire philosophy. So ground up work has been done to make sure that every technology can work on a same set of data without need of converting that data into another format. Now, how this is happening? So you have the ingestion points, which are very familiar to the Azure world. You have data flow Gen 2, you have data pipelines, you have streaming data flows. You can even get these using notebooks. You can get it using, your data streams. There are many ways you can get it in. Then when you try to put the data into Microsoft Fabric world, then there are two main entry point or two main containers of saving it. One is lakehouse, another one is warehouse, and everything is getting saved into what we call is one lake, which is the single storage where you can save it. Now you will ask, when you have solved the problem of with the Delta Parquet, you solve the problem of format, why still there are two things? Why still there is a lake house? Why there is still warehouse? See, understand, in the data world, you are not going to deal with the structured data only. You will still have unstructured data. You will still have CSV files. You still will have so many formats, and you need to give that place to them to store and then transform and run your AI algorithms, maybe running your notebooks on that. So that is where the lakehouse comes in, and it supports both structured and unstructured data.
Yeah.
When it is structured, it is Delta Parquet. When it is unstructured, you can keep in whatever format you want. And there are engines which can work on unstructured data with the power of Microsoft Fabric and use it. Now,
Yeah.
when you come to the structured data, the warehouses only support structured data. But
Yeah.
what warehouse done is they support something which is known as read and write on SQL. Lakehouses only you can read using SQL. You can't write using the typical your T SQL type of a SQL. You
Yeah.
can't write it.
That's true.
So warehouses provided you the facility to write using that. And believe me or not, huge amount of ETLs are still written on SQL. It is the
Yeah.
best thing to write down the data transformation. It is easy to write, and that is why most of the organization prefer data warehouses with the relational database or with the columnar relational databases, where they can write down this entire code in SQL. And that is where data warehouse comes as a strong contender for creating your final warehouse in Microsoft Fabric system. But remember, Fabric is strong enough to host everything on the lakehouse. You don't need it. Using the Spark SQL or PySpark, you can write down your complete ETL, which can be written back onto the lakehouse itself. So you might not need a warehouse, but if you're strong at that technology, you can still go ahead and create a warehouse which supports read and write in SQL.
That's true. One question over here, Amit, before we go further. So you talked about the cost, right? And in the data community, or let's say in the market out there, people are worried about the cost related to Microsoft Fabric because those seems, quite higher. And somehow people are just thinking and relating it with Microsoft Power BI cost only. And when they see, oh, it's even higher than the Microsoft Premium, like Microsoft Fabric Premium, not Fabric Premium, I mean Power BI Premium. So, how do we justify the cost of Microsoft Fabric as compared to Microsoft Power BI?
Okay, so we have to understand that Microsoft Power BI, first of all, in Microsoft Fabric world, you don't have to start with equivalent of P1 F64. You can even start with the F2 capacity. Please understand, capacity is necessary in this case. We need to have a compute power. We need to have a storage when we start Microsoft Fabric.
Yeah,
That was not the case with the Power BI, with the pro user having some small amount of storage, PPU having even more storage. These were things. But there is a big gap between the PPU and even the premium capacity. The costs are too far away. So from $20 per user to 5,000, almost $5,000 for P1 capacity. And it is almost $5,000 for F64 capacity. Definitely you have additional storage cost, and maybe some data transfer cost could be a little bit different here, but you are almost at the same place when you are coming to the Power BI cost, or maybe a little bit higher, but you have a larger ecosystem. Think about, you use, data science, you can use data warehousing. Think about a system where you have to create a data warehouse on Azure SQL. Are you not going to incur that cost? You are going to incur that cost. Then when you take out the data, you might have a data transfer cost when you are bringing it into the Power BI world. So all these things are there. It's only thing is, when you are only a Power BI customer, you might feel it, okay, I'm paying a little bit high. But think, in Power BI you never had a dedicated capacity. Now you can start with as low as F2 capacity. You have your own dedicated capacity in the Power BI world, which is going to give you a much better performance in most of the cases. Depending on the size, you can have from F2, F4, F8, F16, F32, F64 onwards. We usually recommend F64 or the P1 capacity in the Power BI world, because viewers are free after that. Means in the Fabric world or in the Power BI world, you always require a pro license for designers of the report.
Yeah.
But after P1 or F64 capacity, you don't require it for viewers only. Only viewers. Please remember, you still have the cost of designers. You need a pro license for that.
Yeah, indeed. And thank you so much for answering this. And please correct me if I'm wrong. There are two more factors over here. First, for Power BI, Microsoft has provided a lot of features over the years since the inception of Microsoft Power BI back in October 2015. And it's a ton of features because every month they are coming, except for January, rest 11 months, we get the new features in Microsoft Power BI. And secondly, there was not even a single penny of increase in the cost since it's been launched. So definitely, it's the time to increase the cost over there. But the most important factor over here is that Microsoft Fabric is not just Power BI. Power BI is just one of the 6 or 7 or maybe 8 experiences right now. We are also taking the advantage of SNPs like data engineering, data science, and there are so many data activator. There are so many other experiences over there. It's end-to-end data analytics platform, not just a data visualization or self-service platform. So of course, if you are going to have so many different features over there, then definitely the cost is justified, as per me at least.
Yes.
Amit,
So
we have a question for you. So I just noticed there is a question from Zoheb Desai. Zoheb Desai asked, what are the most important prerequisites that an organization should consider when it wants to switch to a Microsoft Fabric completely in data and analytics landscape? Let's say from a Databricks or PBI landscape.
So if you are on a Databricks or PBI landscape, I think in technology wise, you have already on the same kind of technology what you need here. The only thing is, you need to see how much easily you can migrate some of the things which you have done here. Because remember, even in the with the Databricks and the Power BI world, you might be working on import mode. But here I would like to create a direct query mode. And what happens, while we have their options could be available to convert your direct query file in import mode file into a direct query. There could be transformation available which we will be able to use and speed up those cycles. But to me, anybody who's on the data ecosystem which is already using Lake, already using data warehouse, already using data engineering like Data Factory or Data Bricks, and plus Power BI or any other BI tool, they are at a stage where they can migrate. Yes, Fabric is in early stages, is just 1 year. So carefully look at the technologies and the alternatives which you plan to use, if they are available or not. Like Fabric's Power BI internally support field parameters is not regularly available on the via the UI. So like if your solution compulsorily required field parameters, you might not have that from the UI, but though it supports on the back end. And there could be few features in the Power BI which is still not there. So there could be chances that though the ecosystem is coming from the Azure world, your data pipelines might have little bit lesser feature, or data notebooks might have some lesser features compared to what you have in the Azure world. So just compare those and you should be there. But I think they are catching up really fast. I remember our customers were looking for RLS, and there is a beautiful solution which has been given especially to the Power BI world, that you can use the very similar solution what you are doing in Power BI to secure your data. And then that solution works perfectly fine to secure the access of the data and the way we wanted. Like one of the requirement we have is, we never wanted to give access to the Lake or data warehouses to our end users in our current implementation, which is one of the biggest implementation we are doing. and we were able to successfully do it the way the entire architecture has been provided. Yes, so I think if somebody is not on at least experimenting on POCs, there is still a 60 days trial. Some of us have enjoyed the 60 days as 365 days,
Yeah.
but now still you have the 60 days, so go ahead and experiment it out. And I'm telling you, we have done some real large implementation over last 1 year, and we started as early as July, when people were not even talking about Microsoft Fabric last year in 2003. They
Yeah.
just know, okay, we'll do POC. We started a project and we have successfully delivered couple 4 phases of that project, and we are out
Wow.
of the phase one. So what you need for data analysis, data analytics or data analysis is already there. It is just when you want it to start. And because we started a little bit early for a few of our customers, we end up saving a lot of development costs, because for the entire last 1 year, the Microsoft Fabric trial was free for F64 capacity, which is a real high capacity, and we were able to do most of our development work on that.
Ah, that's a great example. Thank you so much, Amit. So let's go ahead, and I hope Zoe Desai we answered your question. In case anyone of you have any question, please just drop over here in the comment section. Yes, let's go forward.
So again, for transformation, your favorite technologies like SQL, Dataflow Gen 2, Spark, everything is available. You can do the transformation using that. Analysis, you have notebooks, Power BI, KQL, and for presentation, you have dashboards, Power BI, paginated reports, scorecards, all the technologies are there. Other than one lake, which is one storage, you can even use one compute. Now, while Fabric allows you to have use multiple computes, means every workspace can have its own capacity which you can use, and there are customers who are doing that kind of stuff. There are different reasons behind it, but you can have only one compute or one capacity which you can use for all of them. And definitely licensing part, the most of the time the license which we are going to talk about, other than your storage cost which is for the one lake, the compute cost which is for the capacity, and the licenses, the Power BI Pro licenses. If you are F64 below, it's going to cost for every user, Power BI user only. You don't need any license for lake houses or warehouses. You want to work as a SQL developer, there's no license for that. You have capacity, you can work. But if you are a Power BI developer, you need a license. If you are a Power BI report consumer, you need a license. Okay, so what are the highlights? One copy, we avoid multiple copies. We'll take one example here. One lake of a single storage, unified integrated environment, one security, and one compute or common compute. Now, common compute is something which would be depending on whether you need common compute or not. You can take a decision, but yes, definitely all the experience can still use one particular compute. So what happens? I'll tell you typical cycles what we have. We have a lot of load on the databases at the night, because we do all typically most of the organization end up doing these nightly loads or one day behind data, and in the daytime you have all the load on the Power BI, because the Power BI is working. So what is happening, your database is consuming in the night, and you need to keep then the load on the database is going to reduce on the daytime, but still you have the load on the Power BI. So the two servers are getting loaded at different time, and you are a 24/7 kind of organization. You can't switch them off, so you're paying the double cost 24 hours. Now you have the single compute which going to take advantage of these spikes. So in the daytime maybe you are using Power BI more, or in the night time you are using the SQL more. If you are an organization who run 24/7, you might think about having two different capacities, one for the data warehouses and one for the Power BI. That is also possible.
Great. Over here, Amit, I have just one question. We have so many different experiences over there, and of course, for every experience, we are paying cost in terms of the capacities that we are buying over there. And in the future, I'm sure there would be some network cost also going to come into the picture when we are going to use Microsoft Fabric. In Microsoft Azure, we have a particular dashboard where we can track all the cost and the expenses, how we can do the cost management. But how we are going to do the same in Microsoft Fabric, how we are going to calculate the cost or keep a track on the cost, whether we are going, above a certain threshold or we are underutilizing our resources, etc. Any idea on that?
So first is we have a very good report available which is called as Fabric Capacity report. Fabric Capacity app is available. You can add that to your um, uh, login or your uh, Power BI experience,
Yeah.
and then you would be able to manage, look at how much storage you are consuming, what is the charge storage, what is the free storage. Understand, because of mirroring there is many times we have a storage which is not available, like you are doing
Yeah.
a Snowflake mirroring or Azure SQL mirroring, you are not charged for the mirroring part of it. And based on which kind of capacity, you have different kind of a free storage which is available. Then
Oh,
compute, how much compute you have and how much is chargeable, that is also available in that. So always look at the Fabric capacity. And Microsoft has released it pretty early. And the reason for that, Microsoft was giving you F64 free capacity, and
yeah,
using this fab capacity report, you would be sure that whether I need F64 or whether I can do like if you're not consuming more than 50%, you're not giving a spike to your
yeah,
capacity,
capacity.
then you can
Yeah,
go for F32. There is
indeed.
another thing which is really good in Fabric, which is not there in the Power BI world, is that we have something known as brusting and smoothing. What happens is you are on F64. There are time when you might need more than F64. Let's say when you run the
Yeah,
ETL, so it can go till F128 for a certain period of time, and then it can smooth that over 24 hours. So
yeah,
you use capacity for, let's say, 20, 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 1 hour, it can
yeah.
smooth that out. But definitely we have to make sure we are not doing that for 12 hours, because next 12 hours would be really difficult for you.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And that's how Microsoft is also not going to charge you extra for that. But ideally, it's going to utilize from your own capacity. So they are going to distribute the cost over 24 hours. But really, this is very helpful, and we do use this metrics app. But what I really want personally from Microsoft also to build a dashboard which has some kind of inbuilt calculator, like in Microsoft Azure for the cost calculation. In my personal opinion, when I did all these cost calculation computations, I had to do my own calculations over there when I even presented one of the PPT. But it would be really great if it's going to come by default, like the metrics app, where we can utilize all the computations and all. But what if there's a value as well attached with that one, in terms of dollars, in terms of the numbers, how much we are spending over there? So that would be really great.
Yeah, and I think one more thing which I would like to add, that Microsoft Fabric is a Azure resource. So you
Yeah,
will have everything on your Azure portal to
yeah,
monitor
that's
at
true.
least. Yeah,
Indeed, that's
yeah.
true.
And I agree with Ajay, like even the calculator of Fabric which we have right now on the Azure, it is on the Azure portal.
Yeah,
It doesn't, I was not able to find the option for, data transfer cost and something if I wanted to add. And so
yeah,
what I end up doing is creating something on Excel for
indeed.
that. But at least it has come now. So a little bit of, couple of things you can add, only capacity and storage. But yes, we would like to see what all costs we are going to incur in terms of data transfer and everything. That visibility more is required. And sometimes I feel like if I can ask a question more than, you know uh, calculating it, so maybe a chat GPT interface would be needed. So we do it in using NLP, not going and selecting it. So I can ask, okay, I want to have F64 capacity running for this much of time and this
Yeah,
much of data. So what could be the ideal scenario for me to have that? What could be the cost I can incur?
yeah, indeed, indeed. But there are lots of things are gonna come, guys, in Microsoft Fabric environment. So just wait and watch. As I said, it's gonna be the future.
Okay, so Microsoft Fabric versus others. Why do we prefer Microsoft Fabric? I've shown you a few things, and then it's a single environment configuration, means you don't have to do everything again. Once you are signed in, you have exposure to different experience that include your data science experience, that include your Power BI experience, that data warehouse, data lake, data flow Gen 2. All the experiences or data factory experience are available in a single environment. You don't have to do again log into this, that, and you don't have to manage. Again, we talked about multiple copies, seamless integration, faster development cycle, and easy to maintain. Now, you would ask me, wow, you've shown a diagram previously, how this diagram is going to change here, and why do you think we are going to be able to save on the copies of the data? And this is the diagram which is going to explain you. So what happens when it comes to the Microsoft Fabric? Well, let's say I bring in data using Dataflow Gen 2, and it is not necessary that I always bring from Dataflow Gen 2. You do have a Spark or Python engine where you would be able to access the cloud database. But Dataflow Gen 2, both the experiences, Data Factory, Dataflow Gen 2, or Data Pipeline, which is both part of the Data Factory, both allow you to on-premise data. Data Pipeline started supporting it very recently. Dataflow Gen 2 is supporting it almost for 8-10 months now. But
Yeah,
you can bring in your on-premise data using the Data Factory, both the experience, Dataflow Gen 2 and Data Pipeline. Now, when you put it on the lake, the first time my data comes in, where is my discussion point? Do I need to read the blob files? Do I need to do? So what happens if it is a structured data? You're going to put it in delta parquet format. There is a default semantic model available. You can create a
Yeah.
custom semantic model, and
Yeah.
immediately it is available on the Power BI. So what is
Yeah.
happening? You have a discussion point here with the end user. Okay, this is how your data looking like. Let's discuss what you want on here. Or you were telling me this formula, I created this measure directly on the formula which is coming out. Is it looking good? And because it's a semantic model, analyze in Excel is available. You are at the same technology which you can use your Power BI or Excel, where you can have a discussion started. So it is not more a black box. Now the QA doesn't need to validate your data in the lake by learning some technology where they can query the files. They can go to Power BI, just run, just create a couple of visuals and done. See, Power BI is an end user tool. Excel is an end user tool. They can easily go ahead and validate what you're done. So one is copy is minimized, another one is visibility is high. Now,
Yeah.
second time, if you remember, we were creating just one copy because lakehouse data was not understood by warehouse,
Mhm.
because it was on blob, and that second one was on the own proprietary format. Now warehouse or the other lake house, the second could be a lake house also in this case. Now in fabric we can have the final gold is on the lake house as well as warehouse.
Yeah.
Now they didn't need another copy. They can read the lakehouse data. If it is in the same warehouse, we can use like database extension, 3 digit. We have this fully qualified name like warehouse name or the lakehouse name, comma the schema name, comma the table name.
Yeah.
If you want to use in SQL, or you can have create shortcuts across lakehouses, and you can read the data even if it is in warehouse.
Yeah.
Again, the moment data is there, the transform goal data is there, I have the semantic model which is not creating copy of the data, which only maintaining the data metadata which is required for Power BI, like your relationship, your measures, and other things. Like we now have calculation groups. All this is stored, your RLS, row level security information. Row level is supported and calculation group is supported on custom semantic model, and I always advise now people to use custom semantic model than the default semantic model. But you do have this default semantic model where
Yeah.
you can get all your tables. The custom one having more control in your hand you have, and
Yeah.
then you can get it in the Power BI world, and there's no copy getting created. So it is as good as what your gold layer was. So there is
Yeah.
no copy which is happening. And this mode where Power BI reads the data directly from the warehouse or the lake house, we call it as direct lake mode. And
Yeah.
direct lake mode is one of the best possible mode, which is giving you power of import mode and direct query together.
Yeah.
So if you are in Microsoft Fabric, you have to ensure all your reports should use direct lake mode. You should
Yeah.
not go for direct query mode.
Indeed. And for all the users who are watching this video now, or maybe gonna watch it later, I would like to say or add some point into this direct lake mode. So direct lake mode, why it's so efficient? There's a reason, and the reason is, for example, you send us a query to your lake house where you are, or warehouse in Microsoft Fabric. So where you just need to read 3 columns. So it's only gonna go for those one, two, or three, or third column only. It's not gonna just query the entire data warehouse or your lake house over there. That's how it's gonna act like an import as well as direct query mode at the same time. You can read more about it on Microsoft documentation, but that's going to solve your 90% of the performance issues. Yeah, of course, you have to optimize your calculations as well. You have to optimize your data source as well, and how you are doing the modeling into Power BI as well. So that's a separate topic. But this mode is really very effective. So please do read more about it.
And then I think I almost explained in the last slide how the black box is broken. Now you have the visibility of the data using the semantic model in Power BI. So there
Yeah.
is no black box. Your QA, your business users can look at the data at various steps. You can go and have a discussion point, and they have more visibility. So this is creating a true Scrum kind of environment for you, where you don't train your users or don't train your QA just for working on a technology so that they can test it. And why I'm talking about optimized development cycle, lesser the copies,
Let's the
better
course.
the development cycle. You don't have to create another copy or another schedulers. As long as there, if you're a small organization and your direct data source is you're able to create the report. Maybe you don't want to transform it and further do anything. If you are able to do reporting on that, while we do always recommend that you put a final gold layer kind of a data which is more optimized for the performance reason. But yes, there are chances for few companies or organization where they can directly work with the data that they have bought in. It might be simple enough to do the analysis, or sometimes you're getting some external data which is for analysis only. You don't need to have do all those transformation. You just bring in and you can analyze that.
Yeah, indeed.
And definitely cost part, license we talked about that you require license for Power BI and you need a capacity F64. That's a purchase basically.
Yeah,
Uh, and then we have the one lake, and F64 is only for the reason that viewers doesn't require. Then the capacity F2, F4, F8, F32, F64, F128, so on. You can go till 2048.
48.
Data transfer costs are part of it, and then the development, I've just crossed it because it's going to reduce that. So it's
Yeah,
not going to go down, but yes, definitely there is a reduction in the cost of the SDK compared to what you are going to do in the traditional manner.
yeah,
So basically, what we are getting in Microsoft Fabric is a complete analytics platform. Everything is unified. It's a SaaS product and unified governance, one lake centric. The format is Delta Parquet is not something which is Microsoft proprietary format. It's open format. You can
yeah.
also write down the code in Python to read that format. You can write down using that as Python. So it's an
That's
open format which is there. One copy which is we discussed, open for every tier. Then empower every business user, so familiar and intuitive, built into Microsoft 365 insights to action. So your logins and everything is really integrated, and you will feel that experience when you go into the Microsoft Fabric, that okay, I don't need so many stuff or so many management of logins or keys and everything when I'm in that platform. Again, AI powered, we have Copilot for almost all the experiences. uh, you can talk in the natural language and build, and we are now even getting for the end user. So the end users on the Power BI reports would also be able to query the data using the natural language. So very soon, I think maybe 3 years down the line, you might not create a report. You might just give them a UI, and they keep on asking the question and
yeah,
solve their data issues or data satisfy their data need, and AI driven and insight. So this is overview of Microsoft Fabric, which is I wanted to give. So now what we can do is we can quickly have a look at the platform. These are few definitions. I think we already discussed few of them. Uh, so what I'm going to give you, if there is a question, we'll take that up. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a quick overview of how Microsoft Fabric experience looked like, and then we'll just have a quick look at some of these things which we have in the Microsoft Fabric.
yeah. For now, we don't have any questions, so we can go quickly over there.
Just 1 second. I'm going to bring in something on my screen
Sure.
now.
And meanwhile,
Okay.
Amit is going to bring something on his screen. I'll tell you one thing, guys. First of all, we are not selling you Microsoft Fabric, so you should keep in mind it's a technology which is evolving, which can help you out, all the organizations out there who were struggling initially by keeping up with all the different technologies and making their data and analytics platform. We strongly believe that this can disrupt the market. This can change that habit we were going into. So this is going to be really helpful. That's why we are conducting these sessions, and not only Power BI, we conduct with others on also. The second part that you may be wondering that why you not go only for Databricks rather than going over there. So let me tell you, according to Microsoft, they have customized the algorithm on the top of Databricks itself. Databricks itself is an amazing technology. If you want to use it, it's completely going to change your entire data and analytics platform. But what Microsoft did when they brought the Microsoft Fabric, they also built a custom algo or algorithm on the top of it, which can further improve 10 to 12 times the performance of what Databricks was already doing. So this is what I even got to know when I was in a conference with Microsoft. So please do your testing, try out the trial period, and you know, you may be wonder what it's all about. So please have a look at yourself.
Yeah. So those who wanted to start trial, actually, if you go to app.fabric.microsoft.com, or you if when you go to app.fabric.microsoft.com, powerbi.com, click on your username, and then you will have a trial option. It means you have not started the trial. And if those of you already might have started, might be very near of ending it, depending on when you started. Like for us, it is only 10-12 days are left out. So this is app.fabric.microsoft.com. Your admin can enable or can give you the license or can enable it for you. So they just enable, okay, you have a Microsoft Fabric free version available, and you will be able to see these UIs, but definitely you need a capacity to work on this.
Yeah.
So you have the Power BI experience, you have the data factory experience, the data activity, real-time alerting, you have industry solution, you have real-time analysis using Custos, Synapse data engineering, data warehouse we have, data science, again, we can use the notebooks for that. And again, we have a data warehouse experience where we can use this. So if you can go into the entire experience, now each experience might require some set of technology. It's not only one technology that's going to solve the problem. So let's say when we go to Power BI, what all technologies we need? When we go to data factory, so let's say you are only a developer who's going to transform the data or bring in the data. So what are all the technologies you need? Those are the technologies available in that particular experience. So like if you are a data factory person, these are the technologies which you might be needing: data flow gen 2, data pipelines, data workflow, something which came very recently, and API for GraphQL. So these are the technologies which you're supposed to work on. Now I'm a Power BI guy, so I love the Power BI UIs, and we have access to all the technologies there because we do end-to-end data analytics. So I usually go to app.powerbi.com and do the same thing. And as you can see, we are only left out with the 8 days of trial. And once you purchase the capacity, every workspace you have an option to switch the capacity. So what happens if I go to this GA10 Fabric workspace? So workspaces are in the Power BI world. The workspace is container of your reports, dashboards, semantic model, previously known as dataset. They are container of all these. Now in the Fabric world, they are the container of your lake houses, warehouses, and all the things which you can develop. And then workspace is a place where you can apply the security also. Who's going to have what access? Now you can give all
Yeah.
the content access, but we have granular access available now in Fabric. So what happens? It is maybe you are in a particular workspace, you have take two lake houses, and you might not give access to one of the lake house to the set of users. That is also possible. So everything which you have will have these three dots, and then you have the security or assignment or manage permissions, which will allow you to for each and every experience allow you what access you wanted to give. And
Yeah.
those of you who are ending the trial, I'll just go to tell you that you go to your workspace setting, and there are two UIs, which is the I'm telling you the one which is easier one is available. And sometime if your Fabric capacity does not match with certain criteria, might not be available here, then you have to do it using the admin portal. In admin portal, we have also workspaces. From there you can change. So if you have a Fabric capacity purchase, it will available here, and you can click on that and take it. If you have purchased, and even if it is not visible here, then I would advise you go to the admin portal workspaces. There it should be definitely be available, and you should be able to migrate that. It's a easy migration, just a one click migration which is available, which you should be able to do. Now here in this thing, we if I go to the new, and I will be able to tell you all the technologies which are available here. So as so the data activator, you have Reflex basically for real time alerting. So let's say you have getting data from Azure IoT Hub. It's a very simple example. You can get the data and take a decision on that data. So let's say the temperature went high, you want to say alert, and these alerts can be both on email as well as Teams. The good thing which I like is the Teams one. I'm on my
Yeah.
sitting on my Teams, and suddenly a message pops up to me.
Indeed.
Okay, I need to take some action. So I like that
Yeah.
actually.
That's
So
amazing.
such a smooth integration Microsoft has done it.
Right. Indeed. And the best part is that in Microsoft Fabric platform, all of your data analytics team can work together, including your data science team. So you don't need to go to a separate platform or initialize some separate services, etc. You all get the accesses that you desire or that you are entitled to, and you can start creating your own items over there. You can try to model your data, test your models, or you want to create Power BI stunning reports, dashboards, anything. That's all possible over here.
Then you have data engineering, where you have lake houses, notebooks, environment, Spark Job, and very recently this API for GraphQL. And those who are from that Azure world, they know how important it is, sometime to use GraphQL for automation of, all these things they can do. Then we have the data factory experience, which is data flow gen 2, data pipelines, and data workflows, which is came very recently.
Yeah.
And then we have the data science, where you have ML models which you can create experiments, notebooks, and environment. And they like, once you create a model, then you have to deploy it and create environment. All those things are based on that. Then you have data warehouse, where you have the warehouse which you can create a blank warehouse, and these mirroring which is available now. And with mirroring, you come up with every capacity has some free limit when you mirror your data. And
Yeah.
mirroring is really
Twice the one that
useful.
you have. Indeed.
Useful because you don't have to write down a code to sync the
Yeah.
data. You might have
Yeah.
it on the Snowflake, and you quickly want to create your reports on Fabric. Maybe whatever storage you have on this Snowflake, almost that much of storage may not be charged to you, and you can now have the Power BI reports running natively on the Fabric. And
Yeah.
Microsoft has signed up, uh, Snowflake and Microsoft has tightly doing this integration. And there was a session in the very recently and the build with the Snowflake also. So the lot of integration is happening, and you will see more and more mirroring database coming here to provide you that facilities.
Yeah.
Then there are some industry solutions which you can take advantage of. And if you're a partner company, you may want to build up some industry solution and put it for your end users. Then Power BI, as usual, these are all the Power BI experience, your report, paginated reports, scorecard, dashboard, and data flow. This is typically we call data flow only, or data flow gen 1, which is from your Power BI world, which is a little bit different. Data flow gen 2 has more features uh, than this one. This doesn't have a destination. Data flow gen 2 do have a destination. Then data
Yeah.
marts, the older one, which came in 2022, still available, and streaming data sets. And then you have your real-time analytics using event hubs, KQL, real-time, and even streaming and reflex. Keep on adding more.
Wow. It's
So
a
what
lot. To be honest, it's like one hub solution for everything that you can even think of or that's gonna you use in the future. It's a lot. Insane, Microsoft. What have you done over here? It's amazing.
So what Microsoft has done is all the technologies you require for data engineering or data analytics from end to end, from the beginning, from when you capture the data or when you ingest the data to your presentation. That may include data science, that may include real time analytics. You might have a huge large data, and think about a capacity of 2048 which Microsoft is providing for that kind of workloads. So everything has been addressed here, and they are adding
Yeah.
all the features and real strong integration with Azure, mirroring of database, so that you can minimize on the copies. So the theme here is, no copy, zero copy, or one copy. So we don't want to create unnecessary copies, and
Yeah.
everything is really intuitive and enabled with NLP. So it is going to be for the citizen developer, what we call the terminology. So you will be able to, low code, no code, or using NLP. It will be there for the citizen developers. You are going to really enjoy this journey of Microsoft Fabric. So, and there is a trial, so you can go ahead and experiment with that.
Indeed. That's amazing. Wow. It seems like for the last 1 hour, where it went away, I even don't know, but there's so much to learn. In fact, I'm thinking now there's so much more work to be done on this Microsoft Fabric platform. Although, guys, you should also keep in mind you should not take it, too much on your head because it's one platform for doing everything. Maybe you are just a data analyst, so you can focus only on the data analyst related work. Or if you are a data engineer, you can focus on the data engineering part. But you don't have to worry about everything. But it's always good to learn something new.
Yes, so we will have different titles in Microsoft Fabric. So we might have a Microsoft Fabric data analytics developer, Microsoft
Yeah,
Fabric data engineering developer, Microsoft Fabric data scientist. So don't worry about if you don't know the technology. But the only good thing is that if you want to learn, you have a space here. And remember, in a larger project, you might not be able to touch all the experiences. It is always going to happen that you are going to touch one or two experiences,
yeah,
and there is a larger team who need to deploy it. But yes, definitely, for those of you who are working on the Azure world and all those different technologies already, it is going to be a really really one place where, or good place where they can, go ahead and now experiment with all the things together. So if you are on Azure data engineering world, this is one place which you're going to enjoy a lot. I'm pretty sure about that.
yeah. And very well said. Like Amit said, You really don't need to work with everything. Just take it slow and try to learn more and more. And this is definitely going to help you for your career growth as well, because this is the part that how we go further in our career. You start as a SQL developer or some a BI engineer, then you become a data analyst, then you go for data engineering, then you go for data science, and so on and so on. And maybe you want to be a AI engineer or something. So this is a journey, and I won't say that you should directly jump on into data science work or something. Even over there, you are going to need to learn the data visualization part or Python scripting, that what a data analyst do. So this is going to lay it out for you your entire career journey, and you can choose what you really want to learn or where you want to take your career further.
Yeah, so I think it's really true. You don't jump in, just get one technology, get little bit expertise on that, and then move on the other technologies.
Yeah,
That would be the best way. And I'm going to tell you, sometime it's going to take as much as 2 to 5 years to have expertise in all those technologies, and maybe you like one of those technology better than other, and you can focus on that particular part of it.
indeed. And once again, Amit, I really am thankful to you for joining me today over here at BI Consulting Pro. And you shared your knowledge, all the expertise. And this is a mind blowing session, one of the best sessions that we had over here. And I'm going to share this link with you as well, or you can just take it directly from YouTube. Also, try to share with your more followers. They can take the advantages, or you can pin on your on Medium. I'll also circulate it, because this is really, really one of the finest sessions that I had with someone, and this is going to help a lot of people out there.
Thanks, Ajay. Thanks for inviting me. I am one of the subscriber of your channel and following you for
Oh
a
wow!
long time. Since I came on the Power BI community, you are few persons, who does really, really good things, and I really appreciate what you are doing for community. I really enjoy watching you and your what work you are doing on Power BI and data analytics. And I'm really thankful that you have invited me, and I'm also thankful to all the viewers who are watching this video live right now, taking out time on a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon or evening, based on their location. And I also would like to thank some of those who are going to watch the recording of this one. And if you have the questions, you can continue to comment on this video, or you can post it on, or you can ping me on LinkedIn or on my channel on any of the videos. I am really thankful to all of you and Ajay, especially for this opportunity.
Indeed, to be honest, pleasure is all mine, Amit, and I'm really glad that I can join you. And feelings are likewise. I really appreciate your work in the field of data and analytics and all the contribution that you are doing. For all those people who are either watching now or gonna watch it later, please check the pin link where I have provided all the details for Amit Chandak. You can connect with him. Please try to bother him more on his LinkedIn account and Medium account. Post him lots of questions, ask him, and you can ask any questions to me as well. You can put the comment in the comment section. Till then, keep watching, keep learning, and keep exploring the world of data. And also, don't forget to subscribe to this BI Consulting Pro if you want to get connected with us, or you want to watch more contents in the world of data and analytics. With that, thank you so much, Amit, once again.
Thank you, Ajay. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Bye, guys.